Okay, so all of these boxes are a piece or a portion of the Yarbo autonomous yard robot. So I'm going to walk through just the beginning. We'll do a full unboxing and then I'll put it together. And so just a couple things I want to show you in each box. So you actually have the robot here. This is the autonomous yard robot. And what this part right here is the basically snow blower functionality here. So this is the robot here. There is also a lawnmower option, which I do not have. There is the blade for a plow, so you can actually use it as a plow in your driveway, stuff like this. This piece right here is the ramp that basically goes up into the charging station. And then this is the Smart Assist module, which goes on the front that helps it kind of move around the yard, different things like this. So the robot will go into the charger by itself. This is the battery that actually goes into the robot. So we're going to do all the unboxing first. I'm going to put it all together, and I'm actually going to just put the ramp out here and show you. The crazy part about it is I live where there's the greatest snow on earth, and Florida this year has had more snow than we have. We've had less than an inch, and we're usually somewhere between 18 to 2 feet just on the ground. You can see, it's the middle of second week of February, and it's 50 degrees outside, which is crazy. So we're going to do all the unboxing and then put it all together, show you how it works. Then I'm going to go into the app on the phone, walk you through the app. You can control it from your phone, Android device, Apple device, tablet, whatever you have. And the cool thing is it's autonomous, right? So it will figure out where your driveway or pathway is up to your house, and it will go through those. So I'll show you some of that without snow and just what it would look like. So last but not least is this little tiny box that weighs almost 20 pounds. This is your battery. You can see right here, you're going to plug some items in. You've got this here. Don't want to take this top piece off. It does have this nice sturdy handle here. All of your FCC regulation stuff is here. So everything here was 6 different boxes, I think, from the beginning. Again, you've got your ramp, you've got all of your technical kind of electronic gear, you've got your blower over here, we've got your blades back here, we've got the different tread tracks back here, we have a mounting system back here, we have the chute cleaner right there. We have some extra small parts that we've moved around. We've got the actual kind of smart release here. And then the battery, which is right here. So the next part of this video, and I'll go through that unboxing really quick. The next part of this video is actually going to be me going through the startup guide, user's manual, and putting this all together, right? Unboxing is probably going to take you about a half an hour, right? So I was doing it piece by piece and recording and kind of editing and cutting and different things like that. It'll probably take you half an hour. The machine itself, you could lift if you're one person. That actually, the top just came off. The other pieces are pretty light. I would say probably the snowblower part, you might want to have 2 people. I think when you're attaching everything together, you might want to have 2 people because you've got to have one person hold up. I'm assuming by the rest of the design that it's going to be pretty easy. We'll just have a few screws that we need to screw in and everything should work properly. And I think the reason that the robot is obviously so heavy is because it's going to be moving, pounds and pounds of snow and ice and slush and whatever for a long period of time, it also has to carry the weight of this. Whether that's the plow side or the blower side, it's going to have to be, you know, pushing snow and different things like that. And then opposite, if it's mowing the lawn, if you have that attachment on, it may be dragging some of that if you're keeping it and bagging it or whatever. But so let's jump into the books and kind of go through those beginning manuals and get things charged, and we'll jump back and show you how this all works. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're actually going to connect the autonomous robot to the blower. So there's a screw right here. It's just a number 2. If you have an Allen wrench set, you pop this off, right? And then this is actually going to connect to this guy right here. It's got a automatic locking mechanism. You can also see right here, I'm telling you before I'm going to do this because I'm going to do this, but there's 4 kind of big bolts with a little groove in between it. This is going to lift up and slide right on this. You also want to take off this. This is to get some exhaust, basically airflow down in. So if I zoom in, you can see right here as the motor spins, snow, right? This is on the back end. So this is going to end up going right in here like this. This whole thing is going to sit on these 4 bolts, and then we're going to lock this in place right where this guy goes. Okay. And we want to make sure that this cable's out of the way. Cord is out of the way. And if I flip this up just a little bit, you can see right here we've got these 4 holes that this is all going to sit on and kind of work together. So it's pretty straightforward as far as the lifting. You don't really have to lift a lot, and I know I'm kind of in the way, but when you have it just flat on the ground, this is a little bit higher. I have this angled up on purpose like this towards me, so it's angled up just a little bit this way. So then I can just slide the snowblower portion right in, and then I can lock this cable in place. So I'm kind of tucking this cable back behind right here so it doesn't run into anything or hit anything. You could probably have it out this way, but you'll see that all of these pieces kind of go together. So when I lift this up, we'll get it connected and go straight from there. Here we go. Try and get out of the way and lift this up. So hopefully you heard that click. That click was everything locked into place. And these 2 release valves, there's one here, not a release valve, but a release mechanism. If I pull this up, it's going to snap those off. So I already have it on. Now I'm going to take my blue wire that I had, and I'm going to line it up and kind of wiggle it in there, and then it's locked in place right here with this little twist lock. So if I wanted to take it off, again, we're good. We're locked in place right there. So that's that first step. So this is all now connected. Okay. Okay. Once you get your mount, or this, you want to mount this back on here. So I still have that. And it's going to snap right in there. And I cut myself putting that in. And I just did a hand. I didn't want to screw it too tight because this might be something that I'm going to take off and on. It may be seasonal, right? Maybe 2 or 3 times a year, just depending on what. Obviously, this is a snow plow, so I'm going to keep the snow plow on. Or the snow blower, I'm going to keep that on. But if I was going to get a different attachment to this to use, then I'm going to have to take that off because I'm going to have to reconnect the power. So this all together right now is one piece. We've got that back on. It's tightened. So you can see everything here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put on the snow chute here that just kind of shoots the snow and the plastic cover and everything like that. Okay, when you're putting on the chute, just pointers as you're putting this together, you want to make sure that you see there's this arrow right here and then this arrow on the chute. There's 4 screws that align that are smaller screws, and then you're actually going to put in the larger one afterwards. I just want to make sure that you align these 2. Otherwise, it won't be aligned. And so when this is controlling or spinning or moving, because you can actually, with the app, you can move which way the snow goes and change the direction based on where everything's lined up. And if it's not lined up, then it won't work the way that you want it to. So just want to make sure that you get those two arrows aligned. Okay, so here we go. Just going to get them started, and then I'll finish them. And then the next two screws we're going to put right in here, and they're a little bit bigger. And this is the plastic cover so the snow doesn't shoot, kind of come over into this area here. So I'll tighten these up, and then we're going to add these two in just a second. Okay, so we're putting in that kind of safety chute on the front side. This is a hard plastic. There's only two screws, and I probably am not going to use a screwdriver, but they go right in here, or a drill like this. And let's make sure I got the right Allen wrench. So we'll just tighten these up right here and solid on that part. So this next portion is, we're going to take this wire, it's going to go here, we're going to screw it in, and then this goes around right here, and this is what's going to control this up or down. So this guy is going to go right here. We're going to have a bolt that's going to go basically on the top and the bottom. It's already there, right? The two bolts. So we're just going to loosen one up, put it in between, and then tighten them. And then this guy goes right here, and it'll pull this up or down. And this is actually electronic, so that you can change the angle of where the snow goes by pulling and tightening this. So kind of like a brake on a bike. So again, we got an Allen wrench here. We're going to pull this down and then put this screw right here, and we've got it. It's tight. So then what we're going to do is just put this screw back on, and then we'll just use a little wrench and an Allen wrench, and then we'll tighten these up. I'm doing these loose at first, right? So this is just hand tightening, but then we're going to tighten both this and this with an Allen wrench. And you can see that this is tilted, but as we pull this, right, it will go up or straight. So depending on the angle that we want. And this will just kind of stay down right here, this cable. So again, it comes with a wrench. It's just a little handheld. I don't want to go super tight, right? I don't want to bend the metal, but I also want it tight enough that it doesn't come off. And is this the right size? It is not. Okay. This was the separate tool that came with it. So these are the Allen wrench tools that came with them. We're going to be tightening using some stuff with these. I'm assuming that it's going to go with the actual automatic robot. So we tighten this with a screwdriver or an Allen wrench. What size we're at? Let's say on there, I can't see. Again, I don't want to go super tight enough that I can take it off, but tight enough that it stays on during the winter. You know, maybe water, snow gets in there, freezes. So there we go. Okay, we'll go to the next step, which is going to be putting the battery into the actual robot, the autonomous robot. There's some other things here. You can see that we've got some lights. We've got to put on some stuff like that, but let's jump into that. Okay, so just going to pop this out here. You've got a styrofoam case, and this is super cool. You've got your remote control, right? Which is awesome. Charging, there's all the charging ports for the remote control. So we're going to set this here. Okay. So you got a clamp with your phone. You got a USB to USB-C to charge this guy here. So we'll get into the remote control a little bit later. And slide it right in there. So again, sorry for the shakiness. We're going to come down a little bit. So our battery is just going to go right in here. And the reason why we want it right here is this is going to be our connecting piece to plug this guy in. And then, right, we can put this right back in. So the battery's in. Super easy. Okay, so in the Smart Assist, basically home network box, there's a little bag that looks like this. This is the anti-theft screws for the battery cover. There's 2 screws right here, and they just slide right in here. So once you get the battery in and you put the cover back on, you're going to screw this in so people can't just pop this off and take it. So the screws, just to remind you, are in a separate box than the actual automated snow robot. And so they're really, really small. And they have basically a custom Allen wrench. Okay, so the next part is the 3 antennas. These are going to go basically right here and right here. So again, right here, right here. And then you have a antenna here for the rover that is going to go right up on this side right here. This is to connect to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi. So if it's further away from your house, you can connect with those. Again, so one here, one there. And then the antenna, there's no screws. This just screws in automatically right there. The nice thing is they're all labeled. These 3 items came in the data box. So this is in the other box that says Smart Assist module that has everything there. So I just want to make sure that you know, like, there's no other boxes that you have left besides the one that has all those pieces left. So it's coming from that box. So just want to backtrack just a little bit. So you have these mounting brackets that are going to hold the antenna information in place. So you've got this little guy, you can put it on here and it locks into place. There's only one way to screw it on. So there's 2 screws. There's one right here, and this is going to go on both sides. Then we screw on the antenna here like this, okay? And this all will kind of mount into this bracket like this. So this is your portable charging station. It is a little bit heavy. You can see right down here we've got the plug, and this is actually just goes into an AV outlet. So I have this plugged in outside. Again, we don't know where we're going to put this finally, but this is the station where it will come and charge when it needs a recharge. So as it goes out and plows, I have a little bit on a ramp you can see there. Again, we don't know where we're going to end this up, but we'll probably put it in our garage. We'll get into more details a little bit about this later, but the charging is happening right from this part. As we jump into the physical controller, you can see that there's a lot of buttons. It almost looks like a video game controller if you've used a video game controller before. But there's a lot of different functions as far as your bumpers, your triggers, your knobs, your X, A, Y, B buttons. But this map in the book kind of walks you through everything so you know where you're going. You know what each button does. I personally like the phone because on the phone, the buttons are right there. Anyway, so as I go through the controls, you can see the image there. Each little individual thing, it controls the lights, it controls the pitch, the turn, the shoot, the actual blower, the plow itself. You can change the angle and stuff like that. So we'll get into a little bit when we jump into the machine, which is going to be right now. You can see here, I'm actually turning the chute, changing which way I want the chute to go back and forth. I can also change the angle of the chute. So it goes down or up, so whichever way the snow goes. And then you can also see I can tilt up the front if we have the plow on the front like this. We also have control of all of the lights, so we can turn all of the lights on or off, and that's all just done right here from the app. So we have the front lights, the side lights. Right now it's telling me that we have a recharge, and so it's basically like a little bit of a remote control. And so can see as we turn it around, it'll just kind of spin in that one spot all the way around. And again, we have multi-control, so we can be changing the chute as we're driving. We haven't had enough snow for me to get used to what this would look like and change the angles while I'm driving. It is like a small remote control car. One of the things that I did not mention in the install was a emergency stop button right here. So when we push the emergency stop, it'll tell us that we have an emergency stop. The other thing as we get started is you'll notice that we have the propeller here. I'm actually going to turn off the light so you can see that a little bit better. You have the propeller here. We have our angle down. And I have 4 different speeds on the propeller. And when we get into the app, I'll actually show you what this looks like in the app. So there are 4 different speeds depending on the type of ice or snow that you're trying to remove. And so as you look at this, a few things as we just walk around and that's all complete. So you've got the lights in the front, you've got the sensors, this goes up and down. This will help you clean out snow or ice that gets stuck in your chute, and it just connects right here on the front. You do have these sensors that will connect to the GPS and the satellite. The beautiful part is that everything is connected into one machine. And then when you get to the end of using this, you can hit the home button or you can drive it back to the power station. Now, again, we don't know where we're going to put the power station. We'll probably end up putting it in the garage someplace, but this will actually drive back to the power station, sit on the dock, and charge. So what I'm going to show you now is the controls in the app. We can go from there. Okay, so when you first log into the Yarbo Snow Blower app, it's going to look something like this, right? You can see right here that the snowblower is 100% charge. If I had it on the charging station, it would be green. You can see right up here that we're connected through Bluetooth. You can also use GPS. Right here, you can add a map. If I wanted to add a map of the yard, we created a map, but it just wasn't quite right, and that was our fault because the sidewalk and different things that were in the way. When I go to controller, you can see right here, we have a lot of different options. So the nice thing is it has a safety lock. So it's going to allow you to basically unlock to drive everything. You can do this in horizontal mode and or vertical mode. So I really like horizontal mode because it's more of like a controller that I'm used to. And so what you'll hear is some of the controls actually going on with the device as we're moving it forward and moving it backward, different items like that. But over here on the left, you have your omnidirectional screen. You can move it whichever way you want. You can then change the chute over here and then moving left or right. And then you can change the angle of the chute. And then over here on the far right, you've got the module, right? And so this is going to, whether you have the plow or the snowblower, change the angle, which you saw in the video. All the way over here on the left, you have the speed of the propeller. You have 5 different speeds, 0 to 4. You can reset everything right here on the top right button. Auger is reversing if you need to shoot snow out, right? And so that'll actually just shoot snow backwards, not up through the chute. If something gets stuck, a piece of ice or a stick or something like that. And then you can go back to vertical mode. Every time that you drive it, you'll need to actually unlock that safety lock. So in the vertical mode, it looks a little bit differently. And then again, if I want to just go out of this, our home button, we can go to our maps. There's a bunch of different settings that you can go in. So when we click on the Yarbo settings, it's going to pull up the name of your device, all of your different tools, your data settings, your area settings, safety settings, privacy, security, work plan history, a bunch of different things that you have. And so when you reinstall the dock station, or not reinstall, but when you install the docking station, the data center, all of those different things, it's going to pull up all of the information on the GPS for your individual device. So as far as overall usage, I will jump in and kind of talk about my experience with just using it. Again, we have not had a ton of snow this year. We usually average anywhere from 8 to 16 inches like on the ground where I live, but this year we've had less than a complete total of 1 inch. It wasn't even enough to use the snow blower. I ended up using just a leaf blower and a broom to clean it all up. So we'll give you some final thoughts on the install and all of that stuff. My overall thoughts on the Yarbo Snow Blower, autonomous plow, everything. So the install is probably going to take you about a half an hour. It took me a little bit longer just because I was filming and editing and cutting and throwing away stuff and moving it out of the screen. Probably take you about a half an hour. I think it would be helpful before you install is to find a place where you're going to put your charging station. It's important to have that because once you get the network and everything connected and the GPS is the system will know the weather that's going on outside, and it connects to basically your internet and your phone and whatever you have in your house, and it will actually go out on its own. I mean, obviously you have to unlock the garage or open the garage or have it outside or have it some covered or something like that, but it'll do that on its own, based on the weather data that's receiving, and it'll kind of go through. So the other thing is the ease of use with the app on the phone and or the control. I think I said this earlier in the video. I really like using my phone because when you're using the controller, you don't have all the names of the buttons there. And I guess if you probably used it for a winter season, you'd be fine. You'd know all the buttons. But it's something that you have to charge. So it is wireless, right? The controller, but it is something that you have to charge. The thing that I absolutely love about this is that you can set it and kind of just let it go and it will do it for you. So yes, there's obviously the initial cost, but there's the back end for the next, 5, 10, 15 years, however long you use it, that you are not going to have to go out and plow your sidewalks, your driveways, whatever it is that you're working on, right? So overall, an incredible machine, super intuitive, super smart. They're regularly updating it, switching from the plow to the basically shovel is super easy. And overall, super impressed with the product. The app is beautiful. You get everything and all of your information. You get all of your history, all of your runs. Basically, anytime it's used, it kind of tracks what it's doing. And then obviously the autonomous part is just absolutely incredible. So highly recommend that. I appreciate the opportunity to review this for you.